Welcome to VibeCheck. Yay.
Let's go.
So loud. I'm one of your hosts, Kalyan Rath. On my screen, at least to the right of me, is Genki.
Yes.
You want to introduce yourself?
My name
a little bit?
But I am known as Noodles, and I don't have many friends. I have a lot of Minecraft things. I'm a professional Minecraft player. That's all I gotta say.
I'm your friend, Genki.
Okay. All right under me we got Skeleton, also known as Jonathan. If you want to introduce yourself a little bit.
You know me. You know me.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, you've been on this show. Same with Stark. He's been on this show too. He's back as well. If y'all remember Stark, we've had two exclusive episodes with him. So I think the listeners know who you are. Today, the reason we've brought you guys in today is we're talking about the struggles of being a musician in high school, and pretty much being like a youth musician. Like anything, like that have you been like treated differently because you're a musician in high school or anything like that? And we got all sorts of perspectives here. We got people that have been doing this for a while and have been doing this through all of high school, and then we got like people like Genki over here, who is one of the more recent people to start making music. So we're gonna get a lot of different angles today on this topic.
Like for me, I don't think I have ever gotten negative, because like for me, I've just surrounded myself with like people who supported me. I don't know how that feels, because I haven't been through that.
Yeah, what about you, Jonathan?
It's been a roller coaster for like my school perception, because it's very different than like on the internet or just in public in general, because it's people that you go to school with, it's people that you have like a peer interaction with, a relationship with, and that really affects it, I think. Because like, yo, who's that like a 9th grader who makes music is way different than, oh, just that guy who makes music, because if you're like in the grade above or below. So from like a group perspective, it changes, but honestly I think the good outweighs the bad, just because we've started so early. Like we're gonna have years on everyone else's heads, because we started in like 10th grade, 11th grade, even like 12th grade. If we're in the game for like 10-15 years, like you started when you were young and you kept going, and I think that's just puts us in a good position off the bat.
Yeah, I gotta agree right there. Yeah, like personally, it's been a bit of a double-edged sword right now, because on one hand, I got a lot of experience, starting early like that. But on the other hand, I failed a lot. Like I made some really cringy stuff, throughout my high school career. Got a lot of hate for it, honestly. Not gonna lie. But from that, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm
Exactly.
grateful.
Where would you be without that?
Exactly. Yeah, I'd probably still be making cringe music.
Yeah, it's definitely like a struggle. I feel like pretty much ever since I started, like I was like, I'm gonna take this seriously. Like back in grade 9, I was like cooking up beats every day in class. Like I just felt like no matter what, I was gonna get like picked on pretty much in school. Like it's kind of hard for people to like support you when you're just this young kid in school, and like like to your friends, you're not good because you're not mainstream, pretty much, right?
People think it's so hard to just like be supportive instead of just not.
Exactly. So that's why they choose to be. I mean, instead, like supporting doesn't mean you're like
because
going around saying we're the best in the world, right? Like
as long as you are what you are, you're always just gonna be the high school homie who also makes music. And until you get out of that, that's what it is and what you got. Unless you become like fucking YB and Namir, you just gotta live with that until
we're also on radio, so
my bad. I'm sorry. This is a very like intimate conversation, so I'm very comfortable right now. I apologize.
You know what? It's all good. It's hard for a lot of people to understand like what it feels like for us, because it's kind of like we're young and we're like impatient, and sometimes we gotta like, so I have to like, okay, like a lot of the times I have to like remind myself to like, I have to pretty much wait my turn, if that makes sense. right? Like you got people that were also doing it since high school and like made it out kind of thing, right? So like the fact that I'm like not getting the support that I want kind of thing is like I just gotta like wait, just yeah, if that makes sense. You just gotta pretty much wait your turn. But it's just like the respect thing has always kind of bothered me. Like I've always been just like to anyone that's like older, it's like, oh, you're just a kid in high school that makes songs, you want to play one of your little songs there kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
I always feel that like I've never been taken, that like my art is not on the same level as art as everyone else's. Like I think that's all opinion based, and I don't think that my art should automatically be like, oh, it's just children's art, so it's not like real kind of thing, right? Like there's no story.
I totally get that. I think I understood from the beginning that respect is earned, I guess. So I never really expected that everybody to like give me really an ounce of respect. Like yo, they should, but I know they're not, and I know I gotta fight. I gotta fight to earn that. Like I gotta climb that ladder. I gotta climb that mountain one step at a time, like one grunt after another. And I just wanted to turn the conversation into the more gendered way that it was before, like or for how it was advertised, I guess. Because is it gonna be easier for girls or harder for girls? Like what's really the...
We're gonna find out when we hop back into the other call. Like that's pretty much what it is. Like I think the reason we decided to do the split was just because I was like, to be honest, I don't know the perspectives of how it feels to be a girl, right? Because you know there's still a lot of sexism in this world and there's things like that, right? So like the reason we made this kind of a bit more of a gender thing was is like, so we can get, hopefully it helps it opens up everyone's point of view.
Hopefully this doesn't get heated.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I think this group is very like respectful, and I think that like, you know, we're like, it's not like it's easier or harder for anyone else kind of thing. And like we gotta respect, like, you know, like the fact, like, you know, some facts could be like, you know, that it might be harder for them, and we just gotta respect that. Because like let's look at history, like how, like when like women couldn't vote till like 1930 kind of thing, right? And like things like that, right? And like black people couldn't vote as well till like 1960, right? So it's like
1960.
we gotta respect everyone's culture and
stuff.
like, yeah.
Genki knows
Actually 1965. Like I did a research about this shit. Yeah, man.
He's spitting, bro. He don't miss.
But like, I don't like. How do you guys feel about getting like? I never really had anybody like downing me. I always had support. Like especially at school, because I knew a few artists there and a few producers at my school. I think that's how I started getting into it. And like first time I showed my first beat to them, they were like, yeah, it's not bad, you can improve a lot. They just see a future in me, and they don't like downplay. So
I'll tell you what, bro. I think the difference between you and me and Stark and Kalyan is that me and Kalyan and Stark are all nerds. I think that's the one thing. That's the one thing
we've been
put us in different places from the jump.
That is true. I mean, like back then, I used to be such a loser though. Holy fuck, bro. Kid you not, man. Like this music thing, I'm really hoping that we all strive and be the best artists. Oh, like, bro, we are gonna be the new generation of fucking artists. We're gonna be like,
we're it, man. We are the Vancouver scene.
Bro, you know, like the.
Wait, hold on. Well, it's just because Jonathan said we're the Vancouver scene. What do you really want to be? Like the top of the Vancouver scene, or do you want to be bigger? Dude, there's people that are like, I know artists that all they really want is to be the best in the city kind of thing, right? And I've always been like, I don't care about, I don't like.
I want to be the best in the world. You can
have the city, exactly. Like you can have the city. I want the world. Get out of here.
Exactly.
But we first gotta get the city.
You guys are just thinking too far ahead. You guys are just thinking too far ahead.
Yeah, no, we're thinking.
But exactly, you're on the right track. You got it. Because like who's Travis Scott? Travis Scott is freaking. That's Travis Scott, but that's Houston's own Travis Scott. And
we gotta be like Vancouver's very own, and then the world will know. It's like, oh, these are the Vancouver fucking.
Bruh, the amount I'm gonna have to bleep out for this episode.
I'm gonna use Vancouver as a launch pad.
As your launch
an
pad.
absolute
Yeah.
launch pad.
I've got a bit of a opposite philosophy on that, because I've kind of given up on like climbing the Vancouver ladder because it's so hard, especially like just in high school, soon to be coming out of high school. It's so hard to get anyone to really pay attention. So my plan is to get the world first and then come back to Vancouver and build it up. Once I'm able to.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I've always wanted to like just travel the world and stuff, and like I don't think I'll ever want to stay in one place for like a long time.
No, definitely.
The world's your playground.
Yeah, that's.
I 100% agree with Stark with the whole Vancouver scene thing, especially for the high school kids. Like, if you can go on Instagram, like right now, I can scroll through my feed. You know how many white boy teenage rappers from Vancouver? Like, it's an insane amount of, especially boy rappers too. Like and they all sound the same. That's the word. Like,
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
but they're all
gotta
running
sound
their
different.
scene. It's like exactly, they're all running their scene. Like, I think that like the reason, as soon as Hallelujah brought Jonathan in the first time, we were so intrigued of getting him a part of this, like our like crew pretty much, and him to join this team of like Sunnyside and like our ASIP program, and like to join the radio station, is because he was like the first person, like one of the first artists we had on the show that was like, he did not sound the same as everyone else in Vancouver, because like especially especially Vancouver boys, I think, to be honest, like listening to the girls' music, there's actually a huge variety, but a lot of like the boy rappers, they all sound the exact same.
Oh, it's because
Everybody
they just
wants
play
to
the
be
same
somebody else.
melodies. It's like
Exactly.
doing-
And
Everybody
like-
wants to be somebody else. Everybody wants to be Young Boy or Annalie Choppa or.
Yeah, they don't want to be
or-
themselves. They don't want to like create their own type of like music.
And that's the
their own
problem with the
sound.
Vancouver scene, and
Yeah.
that's why the Vancouver scene itself has this like.
But it can be
change
so
around.
diverse. That's the thing. But there's mad people that are diverse, but those are not the people that are sticking out. Like Stark, when he dropped your project, right? The reason I was so hyped about it, I was reposting that like every day and telling everyone to listen to it, because I'm like, this literally sounds like nothing like everyone else is posting in the city. Like, if you want, if you want to hear something that's new, unique, and is like this should be the Vancouver sound, unique. That's the thing. Like,
I think that's what the draw for Sunnyside and all this is gonna be. Is that it's just something different, and people are gonna get bored. It might take a while, but people are gonna get bored of what's popular right now.
Yeah.
And that's where we come in.
The trends keep changing, right? But people that are unique are gonna stay forever, right?
Exactly.
Like, I do make stuff that follows the trend sometimes, but other than that, like, I don't really heavily advertise it or anything like that. I've been working on just trying to create my like own sound and get people to take that seriously, kind of thing, right?
Facts.
But it's just so hard, especially in the city, to get like respect. I'm mad, like, I'm not gonna name drop any like of like the accounts, like the accounts that like advertise all the Vancouver artists, but all they really, like, let's be honest, all they really advertise is these rappers that sound the exact same. And because I don't sound like them, I get mad disrespected by them. They're like, you're not good enough for our page, you're not good, like, just because I'm not, right?
When in reality, it's the complete opposite.
It's
Exactly.
like and it's like, no disrespect to those guys. Like, I don't think like you can't really say someone's art is better than someone else. It's all subjective. If that's really their art, if they want to sound like NBA young boy, that's all them, right? But like,
But it's not about that.
yeah,
They don't
it's not about
actually
that.
care. They don't care about the art. It makes money. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why those accounts are successful, is because you post this, you give us money to post this, and all of your friends can comment, and we get attention from it. That's the cycle
Exactly.
of that. And I just don't see any.
And then these rappers too, they just do it because they see all these rappers with chains and they just want that lifestyle. They don't understand you gotta work for that lifestyle, pretty much. Like, it's the lifestyle. You
not
can't
even
get
like
that
like they don't understand that, but they also don't understand that, like, that's not even the point. Like, that's not even why we do this shit. If the only reason that you try is because you want a chain or you want to look a certain way, then either you aren't gonna get very far, or like, I don't know. You're just gonna become empty, because that can't satisfy you after however long.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like, all there's just the thing with the high school artists that I see all the time, and that's why I feel like I get put in that group all the time too. Even though these guys don't like me, like all these like white boy rappers in Vancouver, like a lot of them don't like me because I don't sound like them, right? And then on top of that, a lot of like mature artists put me in the same category because I'm also just a kid in high school making music, right? They don't realize that those kids, all they want is the success, right? Like, they don't care about the journey or nothing. They just want the success. I'm like, I've been very big on, like, I'm just doing this every step of the way. I'm gonna just go with the flow. Like, it's okay to manifest like your success, but you have to like just humble yourself and remind yourself like, hey, this is a step-by-step process. You got to do whatever it takes. Like you got to focus on the now kind of thing, right? Like if you want to get a connection with this guy because this guy could actually advance your career, you focus on that. Don't think, oh, if I'm friends with this guy he can get me. Like just like don't think like many steps ahead. You just well, yes, think steps ahead, but don't think as like this one step, oh, it's gonna lead to like this success kind of thing. You got to think of that individual step, if that makes sense.
A career that's built.
Live in the present and plan for the future, basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
A career that's built out like brick after brick after brick, and all the connections you made and all the just places that you put yourself. If you build your career step by step and focus on just the process, the growth, you're gonna end up with something that is so much more fruitful, and you can do so much more stuff from than if you just blow up overnight.
I
Or
think
what these people want, I guess.
I think
So it doesn't even matter. If you work for it, it's just so much better at the end.
Yeah. You feel yourself more proud, and then you feel like, oh, I did this. Like I would feel proud, and then you start becoming like a lot.
And also, you just get way more respect because you've been in the game and you've done the stuff and you have the experience, and people know that you know stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And just something that I've had trouble with on the come up is like feeling like, you know, I work really hard and then I put the music out, I work on the promotion, the art, all that stuff, and then I put it out, and it's frustrating when people don't really listen to it because you got that feeling of like you feel like people should owe you that respect, but the reality is, you know, they don't owe you anything. You have to prove yourself.
Yeah,
and
you
if
have to
they
gain
didn't give you
their
that
respect.
respect, it means
When I drop music these days, I pretty much expect nothing. I expect no streams, and anything above that, I'm like, that's an accomplishment in this scene.
Well, yeah, like just this is actually good that we have Jonathan and Stark here. Both your guys, when it comes to releasing music, is a completely different path. Like Stark, you hype up your project for a long time, let everyone know you're dropping it. You do marketing, very good like visuals or whatever you need to do along with it. Then you drop it, and yeah. But Jonathan pretty much straight drops things out of the blue sometimes, like doesn't even really hype it up, and just like maybe like a week in advance be like, I'm dropping a song this Friday, and just and
I mean, there's
like,
two reasons for that. One reason is I'm just not as versed in that area as Stark is. Stark knows way more about promo, and I actually hit him up recently asking for like tips on that, because I do need to get better at that. That's an area in which I need to improve, definitely. It's just making myself like known to people.
well, good thing you're in music,
Like, on purpose, but yeah, exactly. But the reason I didn't get that good is because it just always left a bad taste in my mouth to just focus on advertising. And I'm not dissing you or knocking you, Stark, in the slightest. Like, that shit is impressive. The fact that you can make that work so well. But for me, it always just felt kind of like, everyone go listen to this song, and then I tell them again, and then I tell them again, and I tell them again. It's like who's gonna listen to it is gonna go listen to it, and I just don't like just blasting people's face like all the time with promo and stuff. But if I can make it tasteful and I can make it pretty and I can make it not get in people's like just annoy people, which I think I can, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it properly. But yeah,
you got the visuals this time.
Yeah, you gotta. But just there's like the little things that artists, especially in high school, don't like. They don't realize is that like you have to understand like you gotta market your own stuff. Like unless you have like, there's no way like you just have a manager straight up in high school, right? Like, and that so a lot of the things that even if you don't want to do it, you gotta like just kind of push through and do it so you can like be different than everyone else and build that, right? And like I think also just discovering better ways to advertise is also one thing, right? Like besides just promoting on Instagram and things like that, you just gotta find something that's like unique to you, kind of.
Well,
right?
for me, my favorite way to advertise is quality. Is people like word of mouth. Like if people tell 3 people, yo, this is good, and those 3 people all tell 3 people, yo, this is good. Like that's
but then that brings it right back to like the beginning of this conversation. where it was like being able to do that, like, let's be honest, like that is a huge struggle in my opinion, because we're not that respected by people our age and people older. I feel like a lot of times, a lot of older musicians that I meet, I'm still seen as a kid that's just making music in his bedroom kind of thing. Like there's no possible way my music is going to be the same quality as theirs. Like, it's apparently just impossible, right? And then on top of that, kids in high school, at least a lot of my like people in my school are like, I can go on about the kids at my school all the time. They go at my music all the time, just talk so much trash about it, just because my music, I don't like, they never listen to the song. They'll trash it because I don't get as many streams as Drake, or I'm not as poppin' as like Post Malone. That's exactly it. And it's just it gets annoying, right? And
that's gonna be great to see,
right? So like, trying to get people to go word from word to word, that's a very tough thing to do. You gotta
I like to think about how it's gonna feel when they all like you all of a sudden because you are popular.
That's gonna be the best feeling ever, honestly.
That is gonna be the best feeling.
It's like, oh my god, yo, you just dropped an album, I love it. And it's like, dude, like in 9th grade, you were the biggest piece of just like junk to me. Like how like, thank you for telling me this. I now know what you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. No one wants to be with you till you're winning, and then I think that's like, I think that like the big reason I want to have this conversation is just because it's like, why not? Like, what's up? Like, why is it so hard to support your friends that are musicians? It's really not a simple, like, if I wish I had more friends I could hit up to be like, yo, can you listen to this for me and let me know what you think? And like, that's the thing, people keep thinking that I get this all the time too. They're like, oh, you're just saying your friends don't, like, you know, your friends are just like are saying your music's bad, but they still listen to it, at least that means they're supporting you, kind of thing, right? I'm like, but they're like, they won't listen to it and they'll already call it bad, right? And then on top of that, like, there's a difference between getting criticism and people just trashing you, right? It's as simple as that. And people don't realize that, right? Like, I get told this all the time too, that are like, oh, these people are just criticizing you, stop over exaggerating, Kalyan. I'm like, no, they're not, because like, you know, I didn't first of all ask them for any criticism or anything like that, right? And then they won't even listen to the song and they'll just go ahead and call it trash. Like, they won't give proper criticism, saying like hey, to be honest, I wasn't feeling it, like you had this weird like sound in there that was kind of annoying. Like, you know, no one says that ever. Like, I wish I got that.
No one's like, yo, this snare is mixed way too high on the high.
Well, like, yeah, I'm not necessarily wanting that, because like, you know, I like a good perspective of people that don't make music is actually like really good as well, because like, they won't really know what they're saying, but they'll just be like, yeah, this sounded weird, and like I would love that, like, because that means it's like, oh, like, you know, to the normal ear, if it doesn't sound right. So like, if other musicians, they listen to it with like a producer ear or something like that, right? And then they dive like really deep into it. But like, what does a normal person is gonna like walk down the street? What are they gonna think of it, kind of thing? And that's
very true.
Yeah,
I have a designated person for that. She knows a very little music terminology, but she just vibe checks it perfectly. She's amazing.
If you need people like that, I have all my friends who like support my music. I show them beats and they always tell me they don't know anything about beats or anything, but they just tell me like, this sounds a bit off and shit. And then
I just gotta find my people, because everyone in this call seems to have their people.
No.
I go to a bad.
Kalyan, you just gotta surround yourself with people who will support you. Like, let me find a note.
I just don't. I go to not a good school, so it's kind of hard. I don't know, like, it really, to be honest, like, it really wasn't until grade 11 that I just got, like, until I joined the ASIP program in grade 11 that like everything changed. Like, I met people that were just like, they're honest, but they're also supportive. I got the criticism I need to improve my sound a lot. Like, the past year, everything's evolved like an insane amount. If you listen to my music before I joined the program versus now, right, and before I met all these new people like Hallelujah and stuff like that, that we were in the call with earlier, right? Like, it's just, yeah, but it just feels like yeah, but those people are like musicians, right? So it kind of makes sense for them to support, right? Then when I go back to my school, right, it's a completely different atmosphere.
Man. Yeah, no, I feel that, like, personally, like, at my school, there's literally, like, including me, there's like 3 people that make music, and then everyone else just doesn't really know what they're talking about, so it's rough.
Yeah. What it is. Okay, let's check in the other people.
So Kalyan, you should surround yourself with people who wants the best stuff for you. Never surround yourself with negativity, or else your mind is just gonna sponge. Well, your mind's a sponge, so it's gonna absorb anything, and you're gonna become a negative person like that. So surround yourself with positivity, my guy.
I gotta do that.
Spoken like a
The vibe.
king.
For real.
Okay. Thank you for your knowledge, Genki.
Do you want more? Do you want more knowledge?
Ever since you did that, what's it called? The dopamine cleanse. Yeah. This man has become freaking Gandhi. Like,
Gandhi, yeah.
Drop some gems for us, bro.
Yeah, like, we should hear one of your freestyles. You're saying your freestyling before.
No. Bro, my freestyle I only showed to Mateo. And that's the only person I trust.
What? I'm hurt. Weird. Oh my god.
I am very shy. I only can do it one person at a time. I cannot do it.
At a time? Okay. You gotta show me later though.
Okay.
Damn.
But you have to become a person who deserves success. So work on it, go.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Yeah, I think one thing I can also remind everyone: patience. Like, it's kind of hard for to just cool down and remember that sometimes. Like it's not our time yet. We're still young. We're still developing our sounds. We're still learning. No matter everyone in this call. It's like Genki, you have insane potential. Jonathan, that last song, it was listening to some of your old stuff, and then listening to Siren, you've improved a lot. And especially with the ASIP program, you're about to I can't wait for the program to start up, because I already know that with the help from the program, your sound is gonna just jump. Because that's what happened.
Albums.
That happened. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And then and then you got Evan over here, who he's always been the GOAT. Ever since I listened to Anymore, I was like, damn, he's going places. And then keeps topping himself every time this man drops something. He keeps topping himself. So
on the topic of patience, I think I accepted pretty early on that I was in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
10 years.
You got it, man. People forget. People sometimes take a long time. Like Nicki Minaj didn't get her startup until she was 28, right?
Bro, late 20s, mid 20s. We started when we're 16. We started when we're 17.
And
I'm not worried.
Dude, I'm not worried either.
You gotta understand that there's a possibility this will take a long time.
I'm prepared for that. Because if it's shorter, it's a nice surprise.
Yeah,
if it's shorter, it's great, but that might not happen. Your time will come. Simple as that. I think if you put in your work, the earth you're just gonna one day just get blessed. One day,
everybody gets.
Karma's gonna be like, hey, you put in your hard work. I think your time is now, and then it's gonna hit you one day. One day you'll have that one song boost you up, able to make a nice living off of it, and maybe another song from that, right?
Yeah, but I don't think you guys should be having this as a job. You guys should have other goals or.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you have my other goal is to become a chef, bro? Always have a backup plan.
I think.
All my other backups are just more music related.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I've broadened my knowledge on anything possible. I've learned to use I know how to use 5 different DAWs now. I've learned a lot to do with mixing and engineering, all these things, just so no matter what, I'll probably be happy in life if I have a job somewhere in music. So I've learned to do anything music related. I've pretty much learned to do, just so that if being an individual artist doesn't work out, I can hey, maybe I can just go back into producing and help artists blow up kind of thing, right?
I thought about it, and I think the worst case scenario for my life is I do ACIT, and then I just end up working at some studio as an engineer, and then I'm in the studio, and cool people come through to the studio, and I meet with them, and I go. I
can live with that if that's me, to be honest. That's me too. And if that's the worst case scenario, I can live with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Few famous people hop by here in time. You can say you engineer a few of their songs, get credits for it. That's sick. I can live with that.
Isn't Hendrix? He's kind of a celebrity in the music scene too. He's just an engineer, but he's got a group.
Wait, sorry, who you cut out when you?
Yo, Hendrix engineer. I forget his name.
Oh,
yeah, he's got a huge following.
Yeah, no, there's engineers, but that's the thing. Artists, if they like you, they'll bring you. You have you like I become friends with a lot of musicians because like if it doesn't work out for me, I can be like, you know how like the baby put on Stunning for Vegas or like or like something like I don't know, like
that's the thing is think about how many people we know. Like think about
if one person blows up, right?
One of us, and we're just in.
And we can just bring up everyone, the whole squad winning.
A little engineer hack. Just if you guys become an engineer, I saw a video about this. Like, what's the first thing the rapper says to the engineer? Pull up the beats. You know, you pull up the beats for the artist. Maybe throw in a couple of your own, and then they're like,
oh, that's smart.
And then you get the number one.
You can, no matter what situation you end up in, goddamn.
Easy.
Exactly, that's smart.
We can't lose,
bro. It's impossible. It's just you just gotta be knowledgeable. You gotta be willing to learn, no matter what. Learn everything. That's the thing. People really be thinking that like there's mad arrogant people in the city. They're like, I've learned it all. I don't need to learn more. Where I'm at is sick. Like, no, you can always learn. Doesn't matter. Like, even if you blow up, and this all works out for you as an individual artist, and you're the next Kanye or whatever, like. Still, always be willing. You can still learn. You can still learn.
You can still improve your sound.
The reason, like, you can kill. I just saw this stupid motivational video on Instagram. I'm just gonna paraphrase it because it fits here. But there's you can kill alligators really easily after they've eaten because they're really full and they're not hungry anymore. They're not aggressive. They just chill out and you can just kill them and they don't really put up a fight because they're full. They have no reason to really keep going. But like you don't want to become that. Like you want to always be hungry. So you always keep going. No one can ever stop you because you're never full. You always need like some more satisfaction.
Yeah.
Because if you get comfortable, if you get full, like you're just gonna be stagnant. You're not gonna grow, and you're not gonna become even greater, which is what you're meant to be, right?
Live out your comfort zone.
Yes. Never be satisfied.
Never be satisfied.
I've been saying that line like for the longest time. My friends bully me for saying that, but it's because they don't get it. It's not meant for them. Exactly. If you don't get that line, it's not meant for you.
Always strive for more. Always strive for more, bro. Yo.
Never be satisfied.
If it's
I don't care if I have a
it'll improve so much.